Hello, good morning. Most welcome to Stage Africa. And today, well, it's been a lovely week. Hockey making all the news in South Africa. The male and then the females are through to the semi-finals of the African Hockey Championship, which also serves as a real qualifier. So we're all looking forward to how things will pan out this weekend. The male side, they're up against Egypt, as well as the females, who are also definitely going to be looking towards that game, crunch game against South Africa in the round-robin format that they have, for the females. It's also been a week where Accra Folk have adored their new Japanese coach, definitely bringing a lot of news around the corner, people talking about it. Why Japanese? Why not go for a Ghanaian and everything? So, definitely it's been wonderful. On this edition of the program, though, we discuss and we also celebrate our icons, people who have defied a lot of things, discrimination, polio, a double amputee, a lot of things happen in life, and some are able to take it, some are unable to take it. Some are able to take that and inspire a whole new generation. So today we'll be talking to two of them who are London 2012, and they continue to put themselves on the line to fight for the country, raise the flag high every time they are on, the tracks, every time they are on the bicycle, and just trying to raise the image of the country. So it's going to be a special edition of this program today. As usual, I always say that for the people who make us look African on the show, we always have to pay homage to them. Anointed Boutique with the outfit, as well as my jewel, the beats from Jewels Jewelry for that matter. We need to go for a break, and when we come back, we start off the discussion. Two very special people who defy the odds to make it in sports. After this.
TV license is back with a bang. Every household, restaurant, canteen, hotel, or any institution with a TV set or equipment capable of receiving TV signal is required to pay TV license. With your TV license, broadcasting in Ghana is going to get more exciting with educating and entertaining programs, news updates, current affairs programs, including live matches and event proceedings. TV license in Ghana, definitely a wind of change.
You saw the game. You saw the goal. You saw the action and the reaction. You also heard the commentary. But you need to catch them again for your total satisfaction. Enjoy all the highlights of sporting events and the Global Football League on Sports Highlights. Sports Highlights, live on GTV Sports Plus and GTV every Monday at 8 p.m. Sports Highlights, your total ticket to the discussion.
There's no way Makwega can go 4 rounds with me because of my power. I got my power, I got experience, I got everything too much more than Makwega, and I want him, that girl. I call her girl because she don't want to fight me. She's scared of me. She know who I am and what I can do. I know the trainers. His trainers don't want to fight me. I took the title from a young man, and any old man who want to challenge me, hey, I'm okay.
Most welcome back, and Stage Africa definitely today is pleased to welcome our national icons. That's Charles Narh Teye at the far side. He's Ghana's first power lifter. Only talking about those who can raise the metal, but to be able to go and do that at the Olympics definitely was a special one for Charles. Charles, most welcome to the studio. And I also have to add quickly that Charles is the general manager of Paul's Gym at Lizzie Sports Complex. They also have other, gyms around the country, around the capital. Charles, most welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And how are you doing?
Good.
Okay then. Closer to me is Alem Mumuni. Now Alem, just last week made history, did a tour, to raise awareness about polio. He's Ghana's first paracyclist, and he was at the London 2012 Olympic Games. Very historic, moment for him too. Alem, most welcome to the show too.
Thank you so much.
All right, so gentlemen, let's get talking. I really want to pick it up from the very top, London and down. But for most of people watching you to today. Can you give us a little bit background about how you got into sports, and you know how far you've been able to go? Let's start first with you, Charles.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. It's an opportunity that I've been looking forward to. And then I say thank you again, and then I greet all the viewers this morning. I go to powerlifting, it's about 10 years now that I start doing powerlifting, you know. Once upon a time, after my education, let me say SS, let me put it that way, I was lying down in the sitting room, and then I heard this news on the radio saying there's this physically challenged games that they will be introducing at the National Sports Council. Okay. So anyone who is interested should report on one Saturday. But before then, I keep doing something small with my friends at their backyard at home, where we have this pistol, you know, the pistol, the fufu pistol.
Oh, okay, that one.
Yeah, the fufu pistol.
Oh, yeah.
And then we cut it, and then we have these paint cans, the empty ones. We put them to the two edges, and then we do a concrete. We find some small, we go around where they are building, and then we ask them for small cement and then sand and stone. We do our own concrete, and then we put it around it. We wait for a time being, like 3-4 days when it's dry. Then we use it. We do this wooden bench, you know, we create our own, and then we use it. Afterwards, after training, we all pose, and we think we are the strongest guys or the strongest upcoming youth in the community.
Was it because of things you had seen on TV and wanted to replicate it? What was the motivation back then?
We were actually doing it for fun. We were doing it for fun. So when we finished doing all these things, we all pose our muscles, and you know, we laugh at each other, and then we say, oh, you are not able to push this, I can push more than you can do. So it became part of us that we've been doing every morning at the back of the house. So when I heard the news, I went to the sports stadium that Saturday, and then I didn't know there's something even called powerlifting for a para games or whatever. So when I went, they introduced us to the disciplines, and lo and behold, they mentioned powerlifting, and I asked, what is that? And then they introduced that it's a bench press, and it's a max bench press, and then you have 3 attempts to lift how heavy you can lift with your body weight category. And I said, oh, fantastic. I'm already doing this at back home, so why can't I take it as a sport? So that is how I really got into powerlifting.
Alem, a similar story. How did you get into sports?
Myself is almost similar. Having contracted polio at the age of 2, crawled for the next 8 years before I could walk with the assistance of a wooden stick. If a childhood friend asked me to ride bicycle, how to learn how to ride. So he put me on the bike, and while he pushes, he asked me to look forward so that I will be able to ride if he is not holding me. So it happened that way, and he did that way. It got to a point I could ride it when he pushed me. And then it got to a point I put a stone, a big stone, and then climb on the stone in order to get the seat, the bike seat, then push myself. But I always did it at a hilly area so that I would slope down. And whenever I fell down, then I had to push the bicycle back to the hill, and then before I could sit on the bike, and then so I did that way, and then.
I'm sure you got a few bruises on your arms. And
oh yeah, that one is definite. And but eventually I got to know how to ride bicycle, and having also persuaded my farming father with the assistance of my mother, auntie, and cousin to put me in school. Whilst I was attending schooling, I picked cycling, swimming, and then farming. And little did I know at the time did I see my passion for sports beating my disability and inspiring change. I completed senior secondary school in 2005.
Which school?
Nadego Senior High School. And I moved to Accra. The following week, I joined GSPD, where I met a guy at a restaurant.
GSPD is what?
Ghana Society of the Physically Disabled.
Okay.
I met the guy there called Joe. He plays in the amputee national team. And he asked me if I could play football. And I said yes, and that was it. The following Saturday, I went and joined them. And they wondered how I could play that way from that remote village, but I was doing it for pleasure at my leisure times. And it even got to a point that one guy had to, from the town, who was a giant, came to the school and warned the teachers not to allow me play football because I could break my other leg, in addition to the polio, the disfigured leg already. So when I joined, 2007, I was picked to play for the amputee national team. We went to Sierra Leone, we won the first African Cup of Nations. And by then I was using the one wooden stick.
Okay.
But
one wooden stick?
Yes, one wooden stick. But FIFA disqualified me at the game, so I started using crutches. And 2008, a sports scientist called Naomi from Ireland came to GSPD for her project work and realized that how I use the bicycle every day, I could compete internationally.
Wow.
So she asked me, and then I did a research, competed in the first African Championships in Niger, and that was the starting of my sporting career.
You know, Alem, I mean, that's a very touching one. But I wanted to go back to Charles. Alem speaks about polio, contracting polio at the age of 2, and that is, you know, why he's physically challenged, you know, today. I'll come back to him. But in your case, what was your challenge, you know, growing up? What really, you know, brought about your disability?
It's a long story, but I have to cut it short. Summarize everything. I had my double amputation at 2 weeks old when I was a baby.
Double amputation. So
yeah.
Wow. 2
weeks. That's below knee. From what my parents said, after a week I have to be named. So before the naming ceremony, I was dressed up. I started crying. They tried to stop me from crying. So they try everything that you can do to a baby to stop crying, giving me back breast milk, whatever. I still kept crying. So some of the elders advised my mother, maybe the socks that I was putting on the elastic was too much, so maybe the blood is not flowing as it should be or running in my system as it should be. So he has to take it off. According to my mother, after taking the socks off, all the 2 legs became black on a spot, just like that. And then they have to rush me back to the hospital. So eventually the naming ceremony did not really take place whilst people were around, you know, families have gathered, and it was a happy day, but it turns into another thing else. At the hospital, they managed to let me keep quiet or stop crying. Okay. 3 days to 4 days, I came back home. After the hospital, I came back home. 3 days to 4 days.
You're walking all right?
No, I wasn't walking by then. 1 week old baby, how can you walk?
Sorry.
How can you get 1 week baby walking, you know?
Yeah, of course. Of course, when you go through the motions, definitely, yeah, you're right on that score.
Yeah, so...
But essentially, you were okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's just that I was crying and I was okay. Eating very well, drinking water, smiling, you know, as a baby, you know. So when we got home, 3 days, they realized that there is this black spot on the 2 legs. And then according to my mom, from a week getting to the 2 weeks, then they start flowing water. So there's nothing they could do than to send me back to the hospital. That is in St. Roman. And then the doctor, after going through diagnosis, checking everything, watching the case very critically, he realized that no, it has to be amputated. Otherwise, it will eat into the body, and probably they might lose me. So he has to speak to my parents that this is what it should happen. My parents said, okay, if that is what is going to take him back to life, why not? Go ahead and do it. And then they had it done. So that is how I had my double amputation.
And you survived.
Yeah, I survived, and I'm still surviving now.
You know, Charles. I mean, a lot of people will be watching this. People who have, disabled children, physically challenged children, and people who are actually, in that state, and they feel so disadvantaged. They feel so sad about their situation. Some commit suicide, just because they had an accident and one leg had to be amputated and all that. And so I take a lot of inspiration from what you say about everything. You're taking us through all the phases. A decision was made. You survived, and you survived up to today. And we continue to celebrate you today. For what you've been able to do and inspire others to do. Alem, let me come to you. In your case, what really was the problem? You said at age 2 you contracted polio.
Yes. According to my mom, she backed me to farm. It was during rainy season.
Okay.
And she backed me to farm. Came back at 4 p.m. and at that time she said I was sleeping. So she unbacked me and then put me on the floor. I was sleeping, and normally in the northern region, when the sun gets to 4 p.m., there is a shade, so they just lay you down there. Yeah, they will lie you down on the shade so that you have fresh air. She laid me down, and just some few minutes, a few hours later, she realized I was crying. I woke up crying, and then she picked me. They could not know because I could not speak, so they don't know what was happening to me. And that time, I would say ignorance, and then, ignorance. So they didn't know. So what they did was that they related it to a superstitious belief. So they, instead of sending me to hospital, they rather were looking for traditional medicines. But the following day, they realized I could not walk. When I slept overnight, they realized I could not walk.
You were 2 years by then?
Yes. Yeah, they could realize I could not walk. So that was where they realized, no, there was something happening to my legs. But they couldn't send me to hospital, rather looking for traditional medicine. And then, at the end, it was able to, this leg,
the right leg.
The right leg was disfigured. And I started crawling. I was crawling, going up and down. And when I started speaking, I was crawling, doing other things with my other colleagues. I was even playing ball with my other colleagues, whilst they were using legs, and I was using my arms to play calabash guard with them. I don't know if you know a calabash guard, unprepared calabash. Then, when I got to the age of 8, that is getting to age 10, they saw one man. They were looking for medicine for me to walk. They were finding ways
age
on me.
12?
No, age 10.
Age 10?
Yes, I was age 8 when they started looking for some. They were still looking for until I got to age 10. At 8, they were always looking for means to get me walk back.
Was it a case there was no clinic in your village?
Oh, there is. But then there is a clinic. But then that what I just told you, ignorance.
Yeah.
Yes. So they got a man who said he could make me walk. So but the man, this was how he went about it. He boiled herbs, and every morning, every evening, 3 people have to gather and then hold me while they use the herbs with rag, hot water, and then put on the leg, because the leg was this way. It was completely bent. So they did that for 2 years. That is why I started walking with the wooden stick at the age of 10. So they did it for 2 years, every morning, every evening.
Did it help?
In a way, me using the one wooden stick, yes, it helped because the leg was even straight, but I felt shy. I felt shy when it started. It just suddenly you start walking with it, so I felt I was shy, so I couldn't use my one arm, which could have helped me walk without using crutches.
Wow. Wow. I mean, you look back, do you have any ill feelings?
Yes.
Was the fact that if an earlier decision had been made, perhaps you could have saved your leg?
I would have two answers here, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that how persons with disabilities are being left out in the country or in our societies. At that time, or from that generation, I understand very well 1,001 children were affected by that disease, and that is a polio, which primarily was the case of what? Ignorance. And if they were enlightened, if they were educated, I don't think it would have affected me badly this way.
No wonder today you are an ambassador.
And thank you. And the good part is that no, because today I have not used that disability has not been a block, stumbling block for me, but it has given me an opportunity to give back to society.
Exactly.
And today, how I might have not even gotten the opportunities that I got today, haven't gotten the disease and haven't given up to life, but persevered and determined, and today I am a role model and an inspiration for others.
That is what this show is about today. It's about celebrating our icons and inspiring, you know, a new generation. And if you're watching, definitely I want you to pick a lot of the stories that have come through and then make it your own story, you know, going forward. You need to go for a break. And when we come back, we're still talking about these two gentlemen, icons, I continue to say, and how they've been able to brave the odds and climb that ladder of success. You can also do it. After this break, we'll continue the discussion.
All access.
Bomb Squad!
Is going to fight me? Yes, yes.
I'm a bad boy, always knew I would shine. I bang with the bangers, I flame with the flamers. You know what my name is, I'm more famous than Amos. I hate all the haters, cut the lights off in Vegas. Making this money, but this money don't make us. I go for the juggler. Couldn't work no job, I probably cuss out the customer.
I really want to hurt him.
Watch All Access on GTV Sports Plus. The legends live here.
My name is Dr. Kwekwo Kuswasa, your host for The Inquest, a program that taps the expert brains of top players, both current and former, as well as former athletes who have gone into sports administration and government representatives for the development of sports in Ghana. So join me every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. on GTV Sports Plus to find out about the strategic vision, policies, programs, and plans of executives in sports administration. GTV Sports Plus, the legends live here.
Azuma Nelson, there's not much we could say to Pac Heldell. He's absolutely shattered.
That's right. And I came in to knock him out in the first round. You know, man, that's what I make my mind. But because the people here didn't treat us good. You know, they're making all kind of ways to get the title from us. But I want to prove to them I'm the best in the world. And I want Pacado, I want Makwigan, that girl. And I'm going to knock him out anywhere I fight him. I'm ready to fight Makwigan anytime, any day, anywhere. Well, I'm ready. This is my national flag. I'm proud of it. And I'm proud of Africa. You know, man.
Most welcome back to Stage Africa. So Alem spoke about how he contracted polio and how his parents tried to deal with it, the herbalists and everything. But let me bring Charles into play here. You know, there's a lot of stigmatization associated with people with disabilities and people with physically challenged people in the country. In that breath, you know, when you look back at your childhood, how was it like, you know, growing up in a typical Ghanaian society, with people having their own perceptions about disability and all that?
It's very difficult, and it's a big challenge in life, as my friend Alem said earlier on. In society, you know, in society and in our culture, most people think it's just now that you're getting the light. Most people think if you have a disability, you are an evil person, whatever, you are a curse to the family, people don't even want to come close to you. And then it has gone on and on and on and on. Since recent times, people have realized that these are sickness, they are no disease, polio and things like. People are now enlightened.
Yeah.
So during our time, it was very difficult, where they even put people in a room and then they just open and then push the food to them and then close it. Even when people comes to the house, they don't want people to know that you are there or they have such a particular person there. But thank God, my parents never. They brought me up to light.
They supported you.
Fantastic, and they are still supporting me, my family, everybody. Went to school, everything. When I was in school, I was using trousers. Start kindergarten, that's where I started. That was one of the best schools in Tema those days, even not SOS, not Tema parents. Those days was start kindergarten. You can't even get opportunity to go. You have to apply, and it's difficult. That was the best school I was attending. So you can imagine how serious my parents were taking care of me. So I have the light, and then I went through education. Though in school I was still having a challenge, because in the classroom, when people realize I fall on my leg or I can't walk properly, they think I have something, so they don't even want to come close to me in school. I have it in secondary school as well. So it has been a challenge. It's just now that the light has come, that people are getting closer and people know that no, this is not anything that we have to ignore, or this is not people that we have to rather welcome them, because disability is everybody's lot at any particular time.
You could get an accident today.
Even now, whilst we are sitting here, the building can just collapse.
Yeah.
If you are fortunate and you don't die, you might come out with one ear off or one nose going somewhere else.
The boom mic might fall on your head.
Thank you. That's a disability. That is what people don't really seem to